Hello, and welcome to the weekly broadcast of Strategic Speaking for Results. I'm Elizabeth Bachman, your host. And today I want to talk about how to move your listeners to take action by using strategic empathy. And by that, I mean know your audience. Rule number one is always make it about them. Put yourself in the shoes of your listeners so that they know where to go and what you're doing, and so that you address them in a language they can hear. It's so important. You can change the way you are perceived by changing the way you communicate when you take into account who you're speaking to and what they care about. It could be as basic as when you're talking to finance people, focus on the return on investment. When you're talking to marketing people, talk about how this could be marketed. If you're talking to C-level, if you want to position yourself as a strategic thinker, talk about what you're saying, how that affects the long-term prospects of the organization. Take the long view. Even if you're doing a basic update to your team, or you're just reporting what your team has been doing, make it about your listener. Put yourself in the shoes of your listener. One of the things that we tend to forget, everybody, and we all do this, is if you know very well what your group has been working on, what your team has been working on, your immediately superior might know some of it, but they won't know the details. Somebody a level or two up won't actually know. What they're going to want is the overview. They're not going to want all the details. I know those of you who love details, details sound important, but who's listening and do they care? Is it someone who cares about background? Then give them the background. Is it someone who cares about getting directly to the point? Then get directly to the point. One of the things that's really easy to forget is to add the benefit. What is the benefit? What is your call to action? Even if it's just an update on what your team is doing, before you decide what you're going to say, think about what action you want them to take. It might just be, okay, recognize us that we're doing a good job. It might be, give us the funding to take the next step. It might be, stop this project, this piece of the project, because we don't think it's working. Whatever action you want them to take, start with that. It's really easy just to talk about what's going on and then finish. As long as you bear in mind, you can always have a call to action. One sentence may be all you need. I often like to think of the problem solution benefit formula in how you tell a story. And I can tell you lots more about that if you have questions. But an example where that worked was my client, Janet, who wanted to get a promotion. She was a tech person. She was very integral in the inner workings of the company. They had a problem they wanted her to solve, and they'd always just given her problems. She solved them, but she never got the recognition. She never got the promotion. She was never really thanked for it. They just said, oh yeah, Janet will fix it. So what we did was positioned her as a strategic thinker. And she asked for one-on-one conversations with each member of the senior team, each member of the C-level team. And for each one, she laid out what her solution was, or she had a solution, what her solution was, what was her strategic thinking, and then asked them to help her with some piece of it that they cared about. It was, for one person, it was, I know I'm going to have to work closely with this other department. You know them so much better than I do. Can you connect me and endorse me? with the CFO, she was able to say, this is how it's going to save us so much money. It may cost us a little money at the beginning, but it's going to save us an immense amount in the long run. This is my strategic thinking. And because she positioned everything as her strategic thinking, they all thought of her as a strategic thinker because she said she was. All she had to do was say it. And indeed, the next time the executive committee met, they created a vice president position for her because of these conversations. So she got the recognition, she got the promotion, she got the raise, all of it just by using strategic empathy to present the issue in a way that her listeners could take it in. So remember, rule number 1, make it about your listeners, know your audience, put yourself in their shoes and see what they're going to care about, use strategic empathy, and then don't forget, call them to action. My call to action is, if you enjoyed this, please tell your friends, have other people subscribe to us. There's a whole lot of these video nuggets on YouTube. Please subscribe, follow, tell the world. This has been Elizabeth Bachman. I'll see you on the next one.